Hello and welcome back to the tavern. Just two average guys trying to educate as many people as we can on our political leaders, current affairs, and especially the Constitution of the United States, which is the best written document in American history.
And government.
That's true. And with so many politicians and so much of our younger generation, they believe it needs to be changed, but it doesn't. It needs to be followed. That's all it needs, folks. Another important document in our history we'll be talking about in a minute.
Yeah.
And the reasons we decided to create our own country called the United States of America, and why we won our independence with the Revolutionary War. But it has several reasons in it, and why we should be free from British rule, and why we didn't need them to rule because we could take care of ourselves. But certain politicians, especially the Democrats, believe the Constitution is a living document and it needs to be changed, and it needs to be updated because times reflect that it needs to be done.
Their times.
It is their way because they are in charge. But where are the Republicans, Jack? Why do they remain so silent?
Well, 17 of them aren't. They voted to try and get this $1.5 trillion infrastructure passed. So 17 of them jump ship, live on the other side of the railroad tracks now with the Democrats.
You know, they're not standing up for the Constitution. I mean, I'm going to tell you why. Because they want the Constitution changed too, but they want to go about it in a different way.
Yeah.
Like I said, today we're going to be talking about this document, and we're going to tell you what it is in a minute. We're going to give you our views on it and what it means to us. But before we do that, I want to play Jack a little thing that I heard the other night, and I want him to give us his take on this radical individual. It's our congresswoman from Missouri. So let me find it here, Jack, and let me play it for you. Hold on.
And get that off. I'm going to make sure I have security because I created the thing.
Play that again.
I'm going to let them get that off. You can't get that off. I'm going to make sure I have security because I know I have had attempts on my life and I have too much work to do. There are too many people that need help right now for me to allow that. So if I end up spending $200,000, if I spend $10 more on it, you know what? I get to be here to do the work. So suck it up, and defunding the police has to happen. We need to defund the police and put that money into social safety nets. The thing.
What do you have to say about that, Jack?
All right, that's Cori Bush from Missouri.
Yes.
She is talking about security for herself, while in the same forked tongue talking how the regular citizens have to suck it up and have no police protecting them. So it's for you, but not for me. The old saying on Washington, D.C. So basically what she's saying is she's the most important person in Missouri, and her constituents mean nothing. Only her work is relevant. So Missouri, the people that voted her in, that's what she thinks about you. Your life is not worth the public security of police, but her life is so valuable that she can spend $200,000 of your tax dollars, and now ours, to protect her. She's an outrage. It is short-sighted. It is, it's pathetic. And whoever voted her in should be ashamed of themselves. You should get her. She should be a one-term. And she is also part of the 6 now instead of the 4 of the squad.
Yep.
And that's what they think. That's what we try and say all the time, where, okay, her, AOC, Elon,
Aqib
Talib, all of them, they are more important because they all have security. And they all claim they had threats on their life. And all of this security, you understand, they don't have a job. The only money they make is through tax dollars. So this security that's paying for her and her private jets and her train ticket and everything she does, the $3,000 outfit she wears so she can look good on TV is all through tax dollars. We are paying for everything for her, and she just, listen, she let you know what she thinks of you. I hope you're proud.
You know, I'm going to call bull. This is a dishonest congresswoman. I think she's a straight-up liar. I don't believe anybody has made threats on her life. And what makes her more special than her constituents in Missouri, Jack?
She's less valuable than her constituents.
Are you awake yet, people? Can you see what the freak is happening here? Politicians, especially her, don't care about you. They don't care about us. They just care about their radical agenda. They just care about themselves. They want to defund the police, which makes cities less safer. It emboldens criminals. You either want to rule the law or you want mass chaos in your cities, because that's what she's advocating for. She's advocating for mass chaos in your cities. Again, have you had enough yet, people? Wake up before it's too late so we can take back our country. This is our country. And what she said to suck it up is totally unethical and unprofessional. We have to get people like her out of office, Jack. It's not just her.
I don't
it's
know
the
how
squad.
she got it.
I don't either.
Yeah, I do not understand how she makes the local news, and people that voted her in go, oh, what was I thinking? These are people that are in neighborhoods that can't make it back and forth to the store because there's no cops to take care of them
Yeah.
anymore. And you as a store owner, I mean, how many times? Now these are things that don't make the news. How many times are these stores, liquor stores, dollar stores, gas stations, regular stores, they're getting robbed by gunpoint?
She tells you to suck it up, but yet she has her freaking private security. You know, it's not just a squad out there. There's Republicans that are just as bad. These parties have been around since the 1700s, the 1800s, the Whig Party before this. You know, I don't know about you, Jack.
Well, the Democratic Party is the worst, because we've proven in past podcasts that they are the number one source of racism in this country, and we went through it all the way into the 90s,
Yep.
what that party stands for. And they're trying to get rid of anything that had to do with slavery. The number one thing that had to do with slavery was the Democratic Party.
You know, the time to stand up is right now, before it's too late. You know, our group, the United States Constitutional Group, was formed to get people educated, keep them informed, get them involved, getting them to think for themselves, and not let these radical tyrants get away with this crap. You know, Jack, I just want to mention one more thing before going off on my tangent. Sorry.
You know, that's what it's all about.
But did you see the Attorney General report in New York on Governor Cuomo? It's 168 pages long. Did you get a chance to read it?
No, I didn't read it.
You know, I didn't read the whole thing,
I had the highlights, though.
you know, but I read bits and pieces of it. This guy was a freaking human womanizer. What he did to these women is morally, ethically, and professionally wrong. I can't believe those Democrats who control New York have him in office today. They should have impeached him. They should have impeached him with the COVID deaths. But that's another podcast.
Yeah, that's another big catastrophe on his
These
hands.
radical people are dragging their feet, hoping this story will go away. And most likely it will. This loser is not going to bow down without a fight. He's not going to resign. He's a serial abuser. He's gotten away with so much because of his name, because of his daddy's name, and the people have worked for him for so long. They should be indicted for ethics violations themselves.
Yeah, his brother should lose his job, too.
I heard that,
His brother's been giving him all his talking points. Shame on you, CNN.
I heard CNN's just about out their wits' end with him, too.
Yeah, I don't know about that. You know what? He'll be out of a job for one day, and MSNBC will pick him up.
Yeah, true. You know, if a Republican did this, oh my God, Democrats would be having a fit every day.
Well, did you hear his lawyer?
Yeah, I saw that. Yep.
His lawyer saying that how can you impeach a man that hasn't gotten any of the materials for his defense? Hello.
It's right
I
there
think
in
we
black
had
and
two of
white.
them, didn't we?
Yep.
Wow. I mean, the audacity of these people. Oh my. I mean, when I. If it wasn't such a tragedy, it'd be the biggest joke in the country.
Yep. You know, it's funny, but it's not. Because the hypocrisy of the Democratic Party and the media makes the people of New York look foolish of why they have this guy in office still.
Well, not only that, though. Everybody else they have, Nadler, AOC, Schumer, Hildebrand. I mean, these people are pathetic. And and I mean, they're mean, self-righteous, arrogant,
Yep.
and
What-
lack of knowledge of all.
You know, he's not the only leader that I remember. I remember Sheldon Silver. Remember him?
Yeah, he went to prison.
Yep.
That
He was
guy.
another one. He was
And you know
another
what? He stayed out of prison for years because he was a lawyer.
one. Yep.
Lawyer clientele. But that guy, Rocky, that was a state, he went right, wait, see you later.
Yep. Are we awake yet, people? Are you getting pissed off? I mean, we can go on and on about all this stuff, you know. But Cori Bush, the suck it up lady, isn't the only person that has private security. There's a Republican in North Carolina. He has spent $10,000 on personal security details using campaign money.
Wow.
That's your hard-earned money that you send to him to help him get reelected. What the hell is going on with that? Are you awake yet?
Yeesh.
I know we are. You know, again, sorry for the tangents, but I'm sick of these politicians. We need to wake up a lot of people, Jack. It's going to take a lot of energy and a lot of time, but I know we can do it.
We're on our way. We're on our way.
Yep. Yes, we are. Your sister Margaret, your brother Mike, your son Jack, and my friend Angela, and a few other people, they've been helping us with our Facebook. And at the end of the program, we get into Facebook because they're also a bunch of hypocrites. But I want to take this time to thank everyone in your family, and every one of my friends that are helping us. Because without them, we wouldn't have the time to do the research that we have to do. And they're an integral part of this group, and I can't say enough about their dedication. And I know we appreciate it. So we want to thank you, Angela, Margaret, Jack Jr., Mike, and there's a few other people on Facebook. We appreciate you.
Yeah, Mr. Lovell.
Yep, Mr. Lovell.
Mr. Lovell comes out with some really, whew, man, I tell you, that guy is, I would love to sit and spend a week with that guy and just pick his brain.
Yeah. So I'm sorry for the rants. So you have anything to add before we get into our?
No, everything you touched, we're going to be touching later on. And, I mean, what we have today, folks, is we have a political class, and then we have the citizens of the United States. And that's exactly what the Founding Fathers did not want.
But the good thing is, there's more of us than there are of them.
And another nice thing is, every year in November, we get to change who's ruling us. And don't forget, they rule through our consent.
Most of them don't believe that, but it's true.
No, well, the president doesn't, because he said we the people means us in government.
Right.
Us, the people that live in D.C. We are the people. Hello, Mr. President. I mean, I don't know if that was a moment of clarity, your medication hit in, and you were speaking from your heart, or somebody had written something in front of you. But we the people means we, the United States regular citizen, give you authority to rule over us through the Constitution, not through what you think is good for you.
Right. So let's get into what we wanted to talk about. Again, this document is on our website, fedupwithpolitics.com. And I'm just going to read this part to you, and you can figure out, hopefully, where it came from. When in the course of human events, it becomes necessary for one people to dissolve the political bands which have connected them with another, and to assume among the powers of the earth the separate and equal station to which the laws of nature and of nature's God entitle them a decent respect to the opinions of mankind, requires that they should declare the cause which impel them to the separation. You know what that comes from, Jack?
Well, I know where it comes from. But I would like the people that belong to Facebook, the people that belong to the United States Constitutional Group, and the people that listen to this podcast, Meet at the Tavern. I want you to ask yourself 2 questions. Number 1, first and foremost, the most important question: do you know where this paragraph came from? This is one paragraph in a historical document. And number 2, I'm going to ask Dennis to read it one more time. And I want you to concentrate on this one paragraph and ask yourself, what does this make you feel in your gut, in your stomach?
So we're going to tell you what we feel, and hopefully it opens up some of your eyes. So one more time, listen carefully. It's one of the best documents ever written.
Listen to each word. Each sentence goes into the next.
When, in the course of human events, it becomes necessary for one people to dissolve the political bands which have connected them with another, and to assume among the powers of the earth the separate and equal station to which the laws of nature and of nature's God entitle them a decent respect to the opinions of mankind, requires that they should declare the cause which impel them to the separation. Jack?
All right. Let that sink in for a minute. We'll give you a minute. I'm going to take a drink.
Me too.
We need Mike because I'm about out.
Mike, if you're listening, you're fired.
All right, folks. That's the first paragraph in the Declaration of Independence.
Yes, it is.
Now,
That's pretty powerful right there.
that, I mean, it is literally a handful of lines, is what started our founding fathers to have a revolutionary war against the most powerful government and army in the world. They came out on top. The rest of it, like we said, describes the type of government that this band wanted to rule the government, which later became the Constitution of the United States and its amendments. If you read that first paragraph, we didn't get into the rest of them because it would give it away, just because it's so well versed. We hold these truths and be self-evident, blah blah blah. Not the blah blah blah, but you would know what it was. But that first paragraph, when in the course of human events it becomes necessary for one people to dissolve the political bands which have connected them with another. If you don't feel like that's where we're at today, and I'm not saying a revolution the way it was, we're saying a revolution through the ballot box. It is time to take this ballot box and elect the people to rule us through consent that know this document, understand this document, and love this document like we do.
That's great. You're absolutely right. And Jack's got, that first sentence right there, that stands out to me the most. When in the course of human events becomes necessary for people to dissolve the political bands. All right? The Declaration of Independence was written by some very, very well-educated, very smart people in the late 1700s. These politicians today could not write something like this. I don't even think a constitutional scholar could put something together.
Listen, Dennis, I don't mean to interrupt you, but today's politician has tried to act as smart as these founding fathers, and they came up with the Green New Deal, and they came up with the deal between Biden and Bernie Sanders that we covered. These things have all been covered. The 1619 program. These are the things that our today's politicians are coming out with. It's pure communism, fascism, socialism, and racism, all in one. That's what this entire political base that we call Washington, D.C., live, breathe, and go to cocktail parties about.
Even a lot of our friends on Facebook, when we get comments, They mention communism and socialism just as much as we do. So
Fascism is slowly coming in, though.
it is. You're right. So, again, I just want to talk about the first sentence. It says, in the course of human events, it becomes necessary for one people to dissolve the political bands. Political bands of today are the Democratic Party and the Republican Party. And there's several other minority parties. It's a two-party system.
It's a three-party system, but everybody forgets it.
Right.
The third party is us, the
Right.
constituents.
But the two-party rule does not work. Because what we can see over the last 100 years, one party gets in power, they want to control every citizen in the United States. Doesn't matter if Republican Party or Democratic Party. When they are in power, they feel that carte blanche to do whatever they want because they believe their way is the only way and the right way. What these parties fail to realize, that we the people give them the power and we can take it away.
That's what we don't realize.
That's right. That's what we don't realize. So think about that. In the course of human events, that's pretty powerful. You know, I'm just an average guy. And I don't know a lot about politics. I played the game for a while. But for me, for Dennis, I believe we need to get rid of the party system. We need to get rid of the Democratic Party. We need to get rid of the Republican Party. We need a United States constitutional party.
Correct. Oh,
We need a United States constitutional party. The human events, I know Jack's going to talk about a couple of his human events, but I'm going to mention two. Okay, the biggest one right now is a non-secure border. Thousands of people with COVID coming into our country without being tested. Towns in Texas being overrun with these migrants. And where are our political leaders? There are some Republicans, Jack, that are out in the forefront. But the majority of them,
are they out there for,
political reasons.
right, or are they there for the true heart?
They're not there for a true heart. But most of them, where's Tom Rice? He don't say nothing. You know? Doesn't say nothing. Texas towns are being overrun with these migrants. But most of them are silent, like we said. You know, they're not doing enough to protect the people of this country. That's what I see as the first human event. That's where I think we need to dissolve the political bands and get rid of these political parties and create a United States constitutional party. The first reason is to dissolve political parties. Jack?
That's right. Now, as American citizen, to go on to Dennis's,
Rant?
no, it's not a rant, and it's perfectly said and written and spoken. If you as an American citizen went to Mexico City on vacation, or Paris, or, well, you can't go to Canada because that border's still closed, you would not be allowed in this country until you got a clear negative test of COVID. How can you go to Cozumel or
Dominican Republic,
Dominican
anywhere.
Republic, anywhere in Mexico? Let's keep it in Mexico. You go anywhere in Mexico, how is it as a U.S. citizen you are not allowed back in to this country, your home, until you're cleared, test negative for COVID? But these people can walk through. I mean, listen, I was going to say this later on in the podcast, but this is their plan. When you're sitting there and you're spending half your day trying to figure out why none of this makes sense, other things are happening. That's what they want. They want you to be sitting there all day long trying to figure out, how does that make sense? That doesn't make sense. And you go look at your spouse next to you, whether it be husband or wife, and you say, well, does that make sense to you? You look at your kids. I feel so weird. Why? You know who does that to you? You know who confuses you? Criminals. When you're out in the street before they rob you, they surround you. They start doing things. You're confused. You're looking around. What's happening? Boom. Now you're a victim of a violent crime. Hopefully not a violent crime. Hopefully a small crime. And you walk away, and what follows is chaos. Chaos in your world. And that's what they're doing. They are causing chaos.
You know, I'm glad you done, or
No, yeah, go ahead.
No, you have more to add?
Well, I was just looking, this first paragraph goes along with the rest of the Declaration. And, it ties in, they wrote the Declaration of Independence to say, we are declaring our independence from England because of these reasons. And so they said, okay, and it was a unanimous vote. Everybody agreed to it back then. We are declaring our independence. England, here's your hat. What's your hurry? Get the hell out of here. We don't want you no more. And they proceeded to win the Revolutionary War. And then after that, but during the Revolutionary War, these men studied government. And they came up with the Declaration of Independence. And Article 1 was Congress. And they were supposed to make the rules. So here's your confusion again. In today's society, the CDC just extended the evictions for landlords against tenants. So if you're not paying your rent, your landlord can't evict you because the CDC says it. Who's the CDC? They weren't elected. They weren't they're a bureaucracy. The bureaucracies are running this country. And our politicians that we elect are following suit. So, when you have another bureaucracy taking over what our government's supposed to be doing, why is this happening? Again, it's more confusing, and that's what they want. They want you confused because while you're confused, they're able to walk in. Human nature is to first stop and question what's going on. Why is this happening? Same thing happened with our founding fathers. All of these taxes and rules and regulations. And one of the complaints was unnecessary bureaucracies making their decisions. Why is this happening? Well, they realized what happened a lot quicker than we did. It took us 40 years, 30 years in some cases. These people that aren't paying their rent, they were getting unemployment, extra unemployment, bailout money, and that money was sent to them to pay the rent. I got to get this money because I can't pay my rent. Well, here you go. Well, they didn't pay the rent with it.
They went on vacation.
They went on vacation. I live in a resort. They were all there. Every one of them. They're coming down in their hoopties, trying to get these cars to make it through my parking lot. They're staying there for the week, and then they go home. They didn't pay the landlord.
They paid the vacation fee, though.
Yeah, they paid the vacation fee. They paid for the gas. But the landlord, he's back from wherever they come from, finding a second job so he can pay the mortgage. And you want to know why these Democrats don't want the landlord to be paid? Because then the landlord can't pay their mortgage. And if the landlord can't pay the mortgage, the banks get it. And if the banks get it, the banks are backed by the government. So the government, in a way, owns your property now.
Yep.
So why would they want you to pay your rent? They know giving this money, the American citizen wasn't going to save it and pay their rent for it. You want to know why? Because they look to their government for answers, and the government doesn't pay their bills. So if the government's not going to pay their bills, why am I paying my bill? I'm going on vacation. I'm going to go hang out with Jack for a week at his resort.
They are.
Right, but I paid for mine. So there you go. There's your confusion. These people, hey, I got free money. But you know what? When they go home, not only did they not pay the rent, but they got an extension from it through a bureaucracy called the CDC.
So Jack's human event is adding more bureaucracies to put them farther and farther away from us. And I'm glad you mentioned mass chaos, because that goes right into my what I want to talk about next. And people think this is scripted, but the good part is I have no clue what you're going to say.
No.
And you have no clue what I'm going to say.
We tried to do that, but we weren't smart enough.
Right. So when you just mention this mass chaos, it's like, that's pretty dang good. We can list several human events of why we should dissolve our political parties. But like I said earlier, I'm going to mention two. Open borders. This is my first one. Jack's bureaucracies. Over the last 18 months, my second one is defund the police movement. This has got to be the dumbest idea I have ever heard. And to hear politicians like Cori Bush, we played for you earlier, said suck it up with her little clip, and how she deserves private security,
That's tax dollar pay.
saying your life doesn't matter, but hers does. So that's the second reason why I feel we need to dissolve political parties. They don't do anything for the average Americans, for the voting constituents, for us, the everyday Americans. These tyrants work for themselves, the lobbyists, and the rich elites like Bill Gates, Jeff Bezos, and whoever else, the billion-dollar club like Zuckerberg. Jack, why is Cori Bush life more important than your life and my life?
Hold on a minute.
It's not.
Let me think about that. Oh, did you look at my sheet?
No.
No, it's not. Her life. See, the reason why there is no term limits in the Constitution was because our founding fathers said to be a politician, it's the lowest form of work you can do because everybody in the United States is your boss. So you have control over nobody. Everybody has control over you. So you have to go in there, get the work done for the people, we the people, and then when you get tired of working for us, which you will, because it wasn't supposed to be a millionaires club, it was supposed to be a government run for the people, by the people, you would leave and go back to your home practice of making a living.
They were supposed to be
You have
servant
control.
leaders.
Right.
They were supposed to be servant leaders.
James Madison said, not verbatim from what I'm going to say because I don't have the notes to me. Again, we're going down a rabbit hole, Margaret.
He has a lot of rabbit holes, Mark.
We do. There's a lot of rabbit holes. Watch where you step, break an ankle. The worst thing that can happen to a politician is they forget to represent the people and they serve their self-interest. What do you think's going on in D.C. now?
Oh, yeah. You know, I just don't get it. Defunding the police, like I said earlier, makes our streets less safer and makes the criminal stronger. You know, to hell with the victim. We're going to take care of the criminals. They're going to make us money. You know, real smart, Cori Bush.
Yeah.
You're an idiot. I'll just say it. You're an idiot. Just like anyone else.
Don't insult the idiots.
Just like anyone else who wants to defund the police, you got to be out of your mind to take police off the streets. Wake up, people. We say it every podcast. Can you see why it's important for us to be educated? We need people in office who are constitutionalists. Open borders. Defund the police. Jack's bureaucracies. We haven't even gotten into critical race theory, which is another human event. I told you I was going to mention too. When is it going to be about the constituents, the American citizens, we the people, homeless people in America, homeless veterans in America? This federal government is a total failure and has been a total failure for the last 100 years. Now, we've had some good presidents, but we've had terrible congressional leaders, ones that have been there for way too long. They're not constitutionalists. I'm sure some of them don't even know what the Constitution says, but they want to use it to spin it the way they want, to make you feel confused, that they think that makes you think they're smarter than them. You know, they're not smarter than us, folks. All right? Again, when in the course of human events, it becomes necessary for one people to dissolve the political bans, that time is right now. There's no more laying in front of the couch in front of that idiot box that Jack calls it. It's time for we the people, the patriots, to stand up and say we've had enough. Jack and I are trying to unite everyone in this country to take back the reins of this government. And we do that at the ballot box. You need to stand united with us so we can accomplish our mission. You need to tell your family, you need to tell your friends. The United States Constitutional Group wants to unite people. We want to unite people. Again, we need a United States Constitutional Party. To hell with these other parties because they're useless. Jack?
Yeah, we want a united country around the Constitution. Now, Margaret had written me about this, and I'm not going to do due diligence to it right now, unfortunately, because I didn't have the time. But
Well, it's only us doing the research, so
Yeah.
it's kind of hard to.
and but it's true.
But we appreciate everything Margaret sends us.
Here's my course of human events. Margaret wanted to know about the mental health of our children. So, if you don't think the government's affecting you yet, it may not be. Your job may be doing very good now because, whatever it is that you do, you work on a railroad, whatever it is. God bless you, I'm glad. But it is affecting you through either your children or your grandchildren or your nieces and your nephew. Because mental health, there's always been mental health. But you were able to diagnose it for what it was, where it came from, and why. But the children of today are afraid to speak. God forbid they say the wrong thing. They're afraid to take their mask off. Can I take my mask off here? Is this good? Am I okay to do it here?
You know what I find funny? Though, not to interrupt you. People wearing their masks outside, no one else around, and people driving in their cars
By themselves.
with their masks on by themselves. That drives
And the
me
windows
crazy.
up.
Right, that drives me crazy.
It's not even like you a red light and the windows down. You're cruising down the road with a mask on. Look at yourself. And this is what you represent to your children. Listen, there are certain cases where you should be wearing your mask, whether it works or not. Personally, I don't believe it works because it was proven not to work in my life and my experience. And I'm not going to get into that because that's another podcast. But there's been situations in my life where I was supposed to wear a mask and it didn't work. People are dying from it till today for these events that happened in my life and we were supposed to wear these paper masks. But the mental health of our children, so they're not being taught. They're being taught how terrible they are. Whether they're a child of color, whether they're a child of immigrant, whether they're a child of white parents, if their parents are a mother and a father, or any other thing,
How much money they make.
how much money they make, how little bit of money they make, if they live in the country, or if they live in a suburb, or if they live in a city. Every single aspect of these children are told, whatever you are, and whatever you do, and wherever you live, and whatever your parents are, you're a loser. There's something wrong with you. There is something wrong with you because of who you are. This is what they're teaching. The last podcast, the 1619 Project, this is what they want to teach your children. Critical race theory is what they want. No, it's not what they want. It's what they are teaching your kids. These kids have a safe space in their classroom. They have a safe space in their school. So if they go to class and they're feeling bad about themselves, because how could they not feel bad about themselves? Because all they're taught is how they're bad and incompetent, and the kids that they go to school with, their friends, are bad because of who they are, what they do, where they live, how they talk, anything. And then if they go to that safe space in the classroom and they still don't feel good about themselves, they can leave that classroom without telling their teacher and go to a safe spot that's assigned in the school. So now they're missing class to go to a safe spot to try and figure out what's wrong with them by themselves, all by themselves, in a safe spot with nobody consoling them and nobody explaining to them that you are a good person and your family's a good family and your heritage is good and the country you live in is the greatest country and greatest government ever invented by mankind. They're by themselves. They're always by themselves. They go on the computer and they talk to their friends by themselves. Who knows what they're talking about? But I'm sure they're probably talking about, like we did, what was taught to them. And what they're being taught is that they're valueless. Because you want to know something? Their congresswoman is on the news saying they have to suck it up because they're not as important as she is. She's important, but you're a piece of shit. Because I don't care where you come from or what your family's accomplished or did not accomplish, you're a piece of garbage. So there is a huge mental health problem going on somewhere in your family. So stop cruising along thinking that you're okay. You're not affected. You are affected. Somebody in your family's affected. It might be your immediate family. It might be somebody under your own house roof. And that's my biggest,
Political band.
course of human events. And I want to thank my sister Margaret. And again, I know I'm coming up short on that. There's another lot of variables that come into that to play too. But you want to know something? Self-esteem is a slippery slope to mental health.
Just a couple things before I get into what I want to say. With COVID, there's been a lot of mental health issues going on. And if you need help, reach out. Because you know what? It's not the end. There's people out there that can help you. Trust me, I know.
Not in the schools.
Not in the schools. But there is someone out there. Talk to your parents. Talk to your children. You got to talk to your children and find out what's going on about them. But we talked about the 1619 project. It was last week, right?
Yeah.
And we got a lot of good feedback on Facebook about that. But that evening, it came out on Monday. That evening, Fox News talked about the 1619 project.
I think somebody's listening to us and is not giving us credit.
And parents, talk to your kids because they are not losers. You're not losers. These kids are our future. Whether you're white, black, or Asian, male or female, you can accomplish whatever you want. If you want to be an astronaut, go do it. You want to be president? Hey, go do it.
Just don't be a Democrat or a Republican.
Be a constitutionalist.
Right.
So we just got into the first part, the first paragraph of the Declaration of Independence.
Read it.
Didn't even finish the entire sentence.
The rest is even better.
But right now we're running out of time. What I will say is the time has come in our society that it's our time. It's our generation to say enough is enough. These politicians, these tyrants in Washington don't understand that it's time for term limits. They don't understand that the government belongs to we the people. You know what? We're going to make them understand.
You know what else they don't understand? Well, no, it's not that they don't understand it. They never knew it.
What's that?
But the Founding Fathers developed this government so that we could have good government through reflection and choice. Not accident and force.
If I sounded a little angry today, I am. I'm angry at our politicians, but I'm fired up because I know what we the people are capable of. We don't have to resort to violence like Antifa, BLM, the KKK, and all these other groups out there that want to destroy America. But we need to put these politicians on notice, and the only way to do that is standing together as one united group. We can't have thousands of groups going one way, going this way and going that way. It doesn't work. Jack, I honestly believe our group, the United States Constitutional Group, is the answer. And we're not going to give up until the job is done. Very soon, we're going to be meeting with some people from the Horry County Republican Committee who have also felt left out. And we're going to bring other groups under our umbrella, again, of the United States Constitutional Group. We have a lot more to say on this issue, but like I said, we're running out of time. So I'll turn it over to Jack for his final thoughts.
All right, my final thought, number one, we thanked everybody, but I want to say a special thanks to my son, Jack. Jack runs the controls for our recordings of our meeting.
Thank you, Jack.
Yeah. And
Did a great job.
he started this without knowing one thing about this program that records and develops this whole show. He's done it. He's done it on his own.
Why don't you tell people a little bit about Jack?
Jack is 30 years old. He's special needs. Went to school through a special needs program in New York, a BOCES program. He graduated at 20 years old, went through the whole program, went to a mechanics class, computer class, and a cooking class, which is his true passion. He's been part of the Special Olympics since he's been in grade school. Still plays to this day. We went today, actually, for golf, and we got to play 9 holes and practicing for hopefully state games and later national. He's been to nationals twice with his brother Brandon for bowling. One, he won a gold medal, and what you win on the other one?
First place.
Gold medal twice?
Yeah.
He's won a gold medal twice in nationals. Yep, one time he went to Texas, the other time he went to Reno. Didn't help his gambling problem, but he went there anyway. Came here with us, and it's great for me. It's great father-son time. He takes care of South Carolina's Facebook on his own. Started it a couple of weeks ago. He's got over 100 members already on his own. And like I said before, he takes care of the recording of this program so that Dennis can download it and get it sent out to everybody. One more thing I wanted to say is I wanted to send out prayers out to the Chicago Police Department.
They lost another one.
They lost one into a gun battle. Another one, as we speak right now, is in the hospital and is seriously wounded. God bless you guys and gals. God bless your families. I'm sorry for your loss in the one officer, and hang strong for the other guy that's trying to fight his way back. I thought the audacity of the Chicago mayor, Lori Lightfoot, coming on TV, trying to praise these 2 officers for the work they do, and every officer in that police department, what they do every day for their community, day, afternoon, and night. 7 days a week, holidays. You troopers out there are true heroes, people that we want to put a pedestal on. And Lori Lightfoot, every injury, every death of officers and your citizens are blood on your hands because of your policies. How dare you come on TV and try and support these officers now after you degraded them first? That's my personal opinion. I know there'll be people out there that reject what I say on that. I mean, that's just my gut feeling of listening to the reports. And I feel for those families, and I feel for the officers that are in the trenches today. It's not the job I had. And
It's changed. It's changed dramatically.
I'm sorry to you guys and gals that do put on a uniform every day, that you have to do it the way these politicians want you to do it, because the way they want you to do it is not police work. Police work is taking care of your community, taking the bad element over the street. You know, they always say bad apples this, bad apples that. Well, guess what? Government has bad apples, and unlike the small majority in police work and law enforcement of bad apples, our government has a huge barrel full of bad apples. And shame on you for talking about anybody's bad apples until you can clean up your own house.
You know, Chicago has the strictest gun laws in America, but they have terrible attorney generals. So people in Illinois, you need to stand up and say enough and start electing people
George Soros, DAs.
that will take care of the constituents. So we'll end on the first paragraph, the Declaration of Independence. That's all we talked about. You know, that was our take on it. I mean, when you read it, you might get a different opinion, and that's great because, you know, opinions what make this country great. Again, you can read the Declaration on our webpage, fedupwithpolitics.com.
Debate makes this country great,
Yes.
which we're not allowed to do. Just one more thing. We did have a little issue with our Facebook and censorship.
Yeah, I'm going to mention that in a second.
Oh, I'm sorry. Just remember, good government is through reflection and choice.
You know, by listening to us, you may think that we hate Democrats, but that's farthest from the case. I mean, I think Jack's with me, but both parties are the cause of our problems. It's not just Democrats, but Republicans too. I mean, we like lower gas prices, energy dependence, strong military. We have a lot of adversaries out there that want to do away with America. You know, secure borders, open borders. They are the cause to so many problems in our country, and we'll talk about that in a future podcast. I mean, if you like higher gas prices, I mean, it cost me $50 to fill up my truck
Oh,
yesterday.
can I just talk about electric cars that are supposed to solve that problem?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, electric cars and solar power. So just to let everybody know, to make the batteries for the cars, it's made from earth products like nickel, platinum, many, many things. I don't know them all. But you know who owns 95% of the earthworks in this country?
Who?
China.
Get out.
You know who owns 45% of the natural materials to make a solar panel is?
I'm going to go with China.
China, 45%. They own these, and to mine these earthworks to make these batteries are one of the worst things for the environment there is. It's just as bad as coal to try and mine these earthworks. So here's your savior.
But green energy is the way to go.
And that's just to get these batteries going. Once they're no good and don't take a charge anymore, what do you do with it?
Where do you put 'em?
Do you dunk it in your coffee in the morning? I don't know.
Like I said, it cost me $50 yesterday to fill up my tank. Like $15 more than 6 months ago. If you like higher costs of everything because you can afford it, that's great.
It's a tax.
That's your opinion, and we're good with that. But what we're not good with is these tyrants in Washington trying to control every aspect of our lives. That is why we need to do away with these political parties. It's time we take back. It's time for we the people to take back our government from these radical individuals, the tyrants we call politicians. So, as Jack said, you want to get into the censure?
Huh?
You want to get into the censure?
No, you go ahead.
You sure?
You got it written down?
Yeah, I got it written down.
I just have it on my cuff.
So we hit a low with Facebook in like May and June because we're being censored on Facebook. A lot of our posts haven't been seen, so we're annoying some folks. We're pissing them off. But a lot of these things are just jokes. They're false, just to get people laugh. All right.
A lot of it's facts, though. If
Some of it is.
If it's something that's written from you, Margaret, or myself,
It's fact.
it's fact.
Yep. But we have a great following of patriots, Jack. I mean, we have over 1,600 people on our United States Constitutional Group Facebook page. We have like 120 with Jack Jr. with the 100 on our South Carolina one. We have a Veterans one. We have a New York one. We have
We
a
may
Florida
have one in
one.
Wisconsin.
We get a Wisconsin one. We're gonna be all over the country, and I'm serious. I think we need to sit down and talk about a United States Constitutional Party to get rid of these other political parties. But we got a lot of people helping make this mission possible. Like I said, you mentioned Frank in Florida.
Yeah, thank God for him.
Angela in New York, she decided that she'd help us out with the Facebook page in New York. Thank you so much. She's a great friend. My friend Gina, she don't do anything with Facebook, but she does tell me what I do wrong every week. So I try to correct that.
I know somebody else that does that.
And
No, I'm sorry. She doesn't do that.
she's a great friend. I've known her for 40 years, and I love her to death. But we're trying to reach out to a few other people across the country. If you hear this and you're listening to us, if you want to get involved in doing something in your state, we need your help. We just want to thank everyone for being a member on Facebook.
People are listening to this podcast all over the country, right? You
They
have
are.
the rundown.
Yep, they're all over. There's like 26 states we're in.
Yeah.
Please tell your friends and family. Please tell them to join. And together, we'll change this country. Like I said, it's all about education and uniting people. So, as always, knowledge is power. Thanks for listening. We'll see you next time at the tavern.